Hi, I'm Tom Marks with the Marks Law Firm, and welcome to the Healthy Family Law Attorney. Today is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to talk a little bit more about who I am, why I'm presenting this information on this channel, what my purpose is, what my why is. So I'm going to entitle today's topic, Know Thy Attorney. So I want to be transparent. I want my audience to really know who I am and why I believe the purpose of my channel is important and why I'm offering this. So sit back and relax. Hope you enjoy this. I hope I'm transparent and really let you know who I am. So, okay, I was born in Miami, Florida in 1958. I am the product of a divorced family. My parents divorced when I was 5 years old. I think that had a greater impact on me in my early years, obviously, more than I really understood. Today, looking back and having reflected, I really understand that that divorce of my parents helped me to be more empathetic toward my clients, to help me understand what they're going through and to be able to provide that hope and help. That's kind of the genesis, I think, of this channel. Happened so many years ago. So I had a bit of a rough childhood. My parents divorced when I was 5, as I said. My father's time sharing with me and my brother and sister was greatly restricted. We really didn't get to spend much of any overnights with him. There was a lot of conflict with the pickup and drop-offs and with the payment of child support and so forth. So I lived through that, and I know what it's like to live through that as a child. So then my mother remarried a year later to a very abusive alcoholic stepfather, and so I had to endure that. We had obviously conflict around that with my father, and so yes, it had a significant impact on me when I was a kid. I also had dyslexia as a kid. I started public school late. I will say that the studies I've seen say that people with dyslexia tend to have a higher IQ. I'm just going to buy that and go with it. Dyslexia, for those of you who may not know, is where you transverse or mix up your words or letters, and it makes it more difficult for you to learn to read. So I had a little bit of a late start there and started public school in 4th grade. I went to some reading and language arts schools before that. Kind of funny, my friends, when I go back for my reunions from high school, at least my first reunion, which was the 10-year reunion, were pretty surprised that I did as well as I did in college, and then got into law school, and then passed the bar exam and was a practicing attorney. So don't let that scare you off. With the rest of the story may help. So what are some things about me that really kind of helped define my childhood? I had 3 jobs as a child that I think were fairly significant. One was in elementary school. I delivered newspapers. I had a route that included 300 homes. It was a free newspaper, so I had to go around once a month and collect from anyone who was willing to pay me for having delivered a free newspaper to them. I actually got paid 1 penny per paper, so basically $3 to deliver 300 newspapers. So this was a long time ago, where money went further, but really wasn't that much money. My second job was in a plant nursery. That was one of my favorite jobs. I worked for an old gentleman who lived off Old Color Road in Miami and had a private plant nursery with some very exotic trees from around the world, and I learned a lot about plants, and that has carried through to today. Today I have 25 avocado trees in my yard and about 40 other fruit-bearing trees in my yard, along with about 20 different varieties of palm trees. So yes, I'm really into horticulture. I also have 3 hydroponic tower gardens. So that's where you have the pods and you put the seeds or the young plants in the tower that's fed water up through it. It's got a pump in it. It's got a reservoir with water and fertilizer that you put in there, liquid fertilizer. Anyway, so the third job then was I worked in a donut gallery. And I just did that in the summers. And I'll tell you, I ate way too many donuts when I was cleaning up. So they let us do that. So it wasn't like stealing. Anyway, couple of things also. I learned how to play chess as a very young child. One of the things that my stepfather did do was teach me how to play chess when I was 6 or 7 years old. He was a pretty good player. I struggled to beat him. I always wondered how he could see my next move was going to, fork his pieces and I would get an extra piece and somehow, that would give me a leg up in the game. But he always saw it. So it wasn't until I was about 10 or 11 before I could beat him. Then he took me to an older gentleman named Ernie, who had been a master chess player in his younger years. He taught me how to play even better. It probably wasn't until I was around 12 or 13 before I could beat Ernie. So I started playing competitive chess. Yes, I was quite the nerd as a young kid. So in junior high, I started playing competitive chess. I was the #1 board on the team. And in 8th and 9th grades, I won the Dade County Chess Championship. So for some reason, I was a very good chess player. I learned a lot about strategy and how to think strategically. And that has carried through to today and in my law practice, how I think strategically and analytically in my cases. That helps me think what is the next move or the next couple of moves, but several moves into the future. That I think has helped me quite a bit in my legal practice. Another thing I guess my stepfather did do for me was introduce me to a breed of dog called a boxer. And to this day, I have had 7 boxers. So my current boxer's name is Maverick, and he is a fantastic, loving, great dog. Finally, I joined the chess team in high school. I finally realized that girls were not into kids on the chess team. They were more into football players and wrestlers. So yes, I was shallow and wanted to have a girlfriend, and so joined the wrestling team. Our high school wrestling team was actually incredibly good. We won the state championship 2 years while I was there. Finally, probably the biggest factor in my childhood development and into my adult life is the fact that I came to faith in Christ in high school. I have to admit that it was a pretty girl that got me going to a group called Campus Life Youth for Christ, where I started to learn about God, about faith, about the Bible. I was not raised in a Christian home or even in a home that was tolerant of Christianity. So I had to at first hide my Bible under my bed, and my stepfather was not approving of it. But ultimately, I continued to grow in my faith, and it really transformed me. Before that, I was really more of an introvert. had a difficult childhood, as I said, and it had made me shy and lacking in confidence. So when I came to faith, I came to realize and really commit myself to Scripture and realize that if God was for me, who could be against me? And so I had that confidence. It said that I was more than a conqueror in Christ, and that I would ultimately inherit the kingdom as part of the family of God. And so it gave me strength and confidence and courage to overcome the obstacles that I faced in life. So I got accepted to go to the University of Florida. I was an animal science major because I loved animals. I'd had all of these boxers. We had had a couple cats. We'd had other pets as a kid. I loved not only animals, but plants, the outdoors, and I thought animal science. And so I was a pre-vet major at the University of Florida, the only veterinary school in the state. I like to say that I went down the wrong hallway one day and came out a lawyer. But the truth is that the sciences like chemistry and biology and the maths like calculus really did me in. So I changed my major to political science. I think I never got another B. My last couple years in college were really good. My first couple years were a bit more of the struggle with the sciences and the maths, but I graduated, went back to Miami with a political science degree, and ultimately got a job in a law firm, Brigham Reynolds, Byrne Moore, Muir, Gaylord, Saxon Schuster. Some things apparently you'll remember for a lifetime. I probably had to answer the phones a few times like that. Anyway, I started out as a runner at that law firm. I would take all of the demonstrative exhibits to the courthouse for the lawyers, and I got to stay in the courtroom while they presented their cases and used those exhibits, and I was fascinated. I was hooked. I thought that was the greatest thing ever. Lawyers really provided a great service to their clients. There was so much involved in the law, the research, the arguments, the client contact and representation. So I decided to go to law school. Both the senior partners, Bob Reynolds and Toby Prince Brigham, wrote me letters of recommendation to the University of Florida. They were both graduates of the University of Florida Law School. And so I got in, went to law school, and I actually did better in law school than I did in college, and I did better in college than I did in high school. So I was progressing, growing, and in confidence and in my abilities. And so graduated from law school in December 1985, and didn't want to go back to Miami, wanted to be in a not quite as large a city. So started my law practice in Orlando, Florida. I worked for 3 law firms prior to starting the Marks Law Firm in March 1st, 1992. So the Marks Law Firm has been in existence for almost 29 years here. I'll tell you that my time with those prior firms taught me really some of the things that I wanted to do in my own firm, but a lot of things I didn't want to do, and how I wanted to treat my clients, how I wanted to be able to treat my team. We've installed core values that we live by. We have a mission statement as a firm that we live by. At some point, maybe I'll do a video on that to explain exactly what our 10 core values are and what our mission statement is. But I have to say that I didn't really plan on doing family law when I graduated from law school, but I was working at one of the firms, and I was low man on the totem pole, and none of the other attorneys in the firm wanted to take this family law case that came in. So they said, give it to Tom because he's low man on the totem pole. And so I handled that case, And honestly, it was a little stressful. New case, learning a new area of law. But I found that I loved it. It was a passion for me. I am an extrovert. I am a people person. I am an eternal optimist. And also my faith, I think, has helped me tremendously to connect with my clients because I realize we live in a fallen world and people do bad things. Even good people do bad things, and bad things happen even to good people. And so I don't judge my clients. I realize that sometimes they can reconcile their marriages, and I am totally open to that. I believe what Einstein said, and that is his definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. I tell my clients I would love to see them reconcile. I make our positive trust balance, or you can call it a retainer, refundable at any time for any reason, any unused portion, if they reconcile or for any reason, really, because I don't want to stand in the way of reconciliation, but I also want it to be different. I don't want to send a client back into a bad situation. I'm not going to certainly force or encourage a client to go back into an abusive situation. But if their spouse and they are both willing to get into counseling, to make a difference, to change things, and not continue to do the same thing over and over again, fully supportive of reconciliation. That's one of my core beliefs. I also believe that people are eternally valuable. Children are eternally valuable. And I want to protect the children from the calamities of a high conflict divorce. I want to protect the children from the fighting between mom and dad. So that's one of the reasons I believe in collaborative law, because you avoid litigation, you work together as the parents, you come to common ground, you find the same goals to work toward, you co-parent the children. It's a voluntary process, but if the parties are willing to do that, it's a far better way of approaching family law, what I would call a healthier way. So, who am I? I'm a family law attorney. I've been married for 34 years. I believe in marriage. I believe in family. I believe in giving children an opportunity to thrive. And so my wife and I have 2 adult children who are both thriving and doing well. We're very proud of them. I know that every parent is proud of their children. And I know that parents going through a divorce oftentimes lose sight of what's happening to the children because they're so embroiled in the fight with their spouse, or in a paternity case with their partner. I try to be a peacemaker wherever possible. I try to reach out and be respectful of the other side, including the other spouse or partner, including opposing counsel. I have developed a very good reputation with the court system, with the judges, with the local bar association and attorneys. And so whatever tools I have to provide hope and help to my clients, I employ. I try to make sure that my clients are fully engaged in the process, but also fully informed, because I believe that if I can lower the stress level for my client, if I can paint an emotional word picture, if I can describe, okay, here's what the process looks like, here are your options, here are some alternatives to be thinking about, and be very strategic, using my chess, yes, from my childhood, in a very strategic way, and being very empathetic, using what I went through, my parents' divorce, and seeing it from a child's perspective, and also from almost 35 years of having practiced law and family law, and now doing and have been doing exclusively family law for over 30 years. So I use all of that because I really do believe your family matters. This is the purpose of my channel. I believe that, and if I can provide hope and help so your family doesn't have to go through the trauma of a high conflict divorce, if it is a high conflict divorce or paternity case, then I can step in and do battle if I need to and help the client by asking the judge to impose sanctions to correct the other party's behavior. I can't tell you how many times once the judge gets involved and imposes sanctions, whether it's attorney's fees or threatens jail time or whatever, the other party tends to calm down and realize they're no longer in control. The judge is in control. And unfortunately, that has to happen sometimes in the litigation case. I had a case not long ago where I did have to take the husband back to court 3 times, held in contempt 3 times. And the judge said, next time Mr. Marks brings you back here on another contempt charge, you'll be going to jail. So I don't really want to see anybody go to jail. I have seen judges put people in handcuffs and yes, take them to jail until they engage in corrective activity. So if we can avoid that, that's the best way. All right. So a little bit more about me. Part of the Healthy Lawyer, I've got a blog called The Healthy Lawyer and the Healthy Family Law Attorney. The healthy is because I really believe in not only physical health, but emotional and spiritual and familial, psychological, all of that. I have lost over 50 pounds in the last 5 years. I'm very much into my avocado trees. As I said, I have 25 avocado trees, 17 different varieties. I have over 40 additional variety of exotic and other fruit trees, all of my palm trees. I'm really into exercise, interval training. Even at my age, I'm still able to sprint and walk. And I follow a couple of people on YouTube. Check out Thomas DeLauer on YouTube. He lost over 100 pounds, extremely knowledgeable about ketogenic diet, Mediterranean diet, also intermittent fasting and longer term fasts, which I do both. So I want to live a rounded, healthy life, a long and prosperous life. I want that for my clients also. Again, not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually and familially. I want the children to be taken care of and to be raised in a place where they feel healthy and secure. I am not here to promote divorce. I am here to help families get through a very, very difficult time in their lives and help them navigate that in a successful way and in a healthy way. And anything I can do to encourage that and promote that, I will do. I love to connect with my clients. If you would like to leave a comment below, be happy to respond to that. I'd love to hear your story. I've done previous videos on choosing the right attorney. I think this gives you a much more inclusive and complete picture of who I am, and it's okay if I'm not a good fit for you. I think the important thing is that you work with an attorney that you feel comfortable with, that you have confidence in, and that you believe will be able to help you navigate the process in a healthy way, in a successful way, and to protect the children and to really put the best interest of the children at the forefront. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, hit that like button. I'd love it if you'd subscribe to the channel, hit that bell icon, and know when our next video is coming out. I hope this hasn't been too much information, but I felt like it was time for me to just tell you a little bit more about who I am. I put out over 20 videos, and I just wanted everyone to have the opportunity to know who it is that they're following, who it is that they might want to subscribe, and so or who they might want to recommend to someone else. So thank you for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed it again. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.